What do you think about Mike Norvell, head coach at Florida State? Was at Memphis. I'm not going to call him polarizing. I will say a lot of people's opinions have shifted on him. How hard have they shifted, though? So that I think is what I want to lead with. I asked the question earlier today, got a lot of responses, and got a lot of Dan Mullen comparisons, by the way. Is this popular? Have I missed this? I admit sometimes I can box myself in a little bit. I don't listen to a lot of outside noise. I did not know that the Mike Norvell, Dan Mullen comparison was out there. And by that, people apparently, according to my DMs and mentions, mean he is good coach. He's a builder. He's a guy who can every now and then probably flash a 10-win season on you. He's a grinder, but is he ultimately going to build something elite? No, he's not. Now, that's your take. The whole point of this is to gauge the general mood towards a coach. Oh, that was interesting. I can get it, but the body of work's not there yet. I still think a lot of Mike Norvell's book is still unwritten. So I think what we need to be careful of, or I'll tell you where my mind's at, and you can tell me if you agree with me. I'm trying to be careful not to talk as if Mike Norvell has arrived. So just because the heat is off of him, which I thought was a little bit undue heat, but just because the heat's off of him, it doesn't mean we've swung the pendulum all the way over to, okay, and now this guy's arrived. He hasn't arrived. He hasn't arrived because they haven't done anything of national note down there yet. He just won 10 games last year, and they finished really strong, and so there's no heat on him. But you know as well as I do, that heat would pop right back up. The stove top would be hot to the touch if they were to start 2-2 this year. A scenario we went over the other night, by the way. So they muted a lot of doubters. They muted some haters. I read a book one time that says, just because you throw the haters out the window, it doesn't mean they're not down in the parking lot doing push-ups. They're never really gone, are they? So yeah, we got all that to worry about. And I've tried to take a very, very responsible, narrow, not narrow-minded, that's the wrong verbiage, but I've tried to be very specific with how we've talked about Norvell on the show, because I think this season tells so much about Mike Norvell. I look at recruiting because talent acquisition is largely the name of the game. Those are the guys you play with. And they've been so consistent in recruiting. You look at the past 4 cycles, they finished anywhere from 19th, or they finished anywhere from 17th to 26th, I think it was, or 19, 20, 23, 22. So that's where they finished. I don't really care about the number of commits they have. I care about where they actually ranked. And so the transfer portal has really been where they've made their hay. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever said that on the show, but Mima, you say it all the time. So that's where they made their hay so far. Is that a sustainable approach, number one? Number two, are they Michigan? That's really what we have to find out this year. Michigan is a team that does not recruit top 5 classes. Well, they haven't. I think they're recruiting really well right now, actually, but they are peaking in recruiting right now. They're doing more than they've ever done. To this point, Norvell and Florida State have floated in anywhere from like the 17 to 25 range in recruiting, and then they supplement via the portal. And what they hope, even though their blue chip ratio would be lower than other teams in the playoff picture, is that they can develop and execute their way into the top 4. Michigan's done that. Is Florida State Michigan? Is Mike Norvell sort of Jim Harbaugh South? They can be better either way. So even if they are that, there's no excuse to have to try and just out-develop and out-scheme folks when you're Florida State football, because you should be a haven. You should be a destination for top-level talent. Why? Because you're Florida State football. That's why. I also have a theory, and I didn't know I was going to put it to the test today, but because I was looking at the comments and the replies here, it's time to. Do we have those 2 tweets, by the way? Because I don't want to just go into this blind. I want to actually show you. Mike Norvell's an attractive dude. I'm comfortable saying it because you said it. We had Steve hit us up and said, all the girls I went to Florida State with call him Coach Hottie. Didn't know that. Was unaware of it. But that wasn't even the only one of those we got. A number of you hit me up and said, in all honesty, like Steven hit me and said, in all honesty, as a lifelong Florida State fan, he's made my wife as intent on watching the games as I have. It's not impossible to let go of attractive people. It's harder to let go of attractive people. So I'm going to say it right now. Good for Mike Norvell. Now, that doesn't mean that eventually you don't have to get the job done. But I'm a firm believer that attractive people in life get benefit of the doubt. And so I think he's working with benefit of the doubt that, frankly, I did not know he had because I had not looked at Mike Norvell in that way yet. But now we all have, and I think we're all better for it. So the general summary I get is almost no one hates Mike Norvell. And if you do, I don't know, it's probably because he stole your lunch money when you were a kid. So I got everyone across the board saying, good offensive mind, good program builder, don't have a strong opinion, don't hate him at all. Just, I don't quite know if he's that guy yet. I think that's fair. I think when we looked at our responses for Norvell, aside from the fringe, Kane Gator sectors, I thought it was pretty reasonable. And so it's possible, now here's where I also wonder about, it's possible that the expectation bullseye has missed him every year. So Mike Norvell, when he got there, everyone said, okay, he needs to immediately turn it around. And so the expectation bullseye was 8 or 9 wins, and you fall short of that. And then the expectation bullseye is a little bit lower, and then he exceeds it last year. Well, now the expectation bullseye is ACC champion, college football playoff challenger. Well, they may not be that good this year. What if their result is 9 wins this year? It'd be a pretty good year. People would say he fell short of expectation. The under would hit on the Vegas win total if they win 9 games this year. So there's a distinct possibility that Norvell's just one of those dudes that you can never nail down. You can never, in any given year, feel like you fully know where they are.